Hey, hey, dear Swissies and Switzerland lovers. I am right now again at Ballenberg, with the nice parapluie. And I will show you a very nice exhibition. We go into the...
Hose der Bösen.
Yeah, I'll show you. Yeah, we have rainy weather, but I mean, this is the best you can do on a rainy day, huh? Checking the houses in Ballenberg. Yeah. And then time is flying. And they have cool schirms, look mal. Yeah, I love it. Everyone has a schirm like this. Cool. Me too. Yeah, was a present today. We are now at the entry of the...
Hose der Bösen.
It is...
Who wears the trousers?
And we go in. Es werde Licht. Bling. The light is on. But it wasn't me. Look, Brunnen haben wir auch noch. We have a fountain. Cool. It was Miriam. Hi,
Good
Miriam.
morning.
Good morning. She will tell us about der Hose der Bösen. In English?
In English, we didn't find a translation actually in English because it's so special, this Swiss tradition. We translated it in Who Wears the Trousers. So it's
Who's
all
the boss?
Who's the boss? Yeah, the Bösen, it means the bad ones, and it's like topsy-turvy formulation for the really good sportsmen. They are the bad ones. They are the best.
Okay.
So. They are wearing the trousers, and I'm going to wear a trouser now.
Oh, really?
If you don't
Okay.
mind.
I will hold on you. Oh, look, it's there.
So we have the trousers that Swiss wrestlers wear to do this sport, and we have them for our guests prepared. So anybody who wants to try it can get inside. I'm going to lose the jacket.
Crazy, there are many sizes of different Schwinger trousers.
And we also have children's sizes.
Oh, where are they?
The small.
They will find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
help
get
you.
out of my jacket.
You lost your trousers.
Yes, and I cannot lose my jacket. It's stuck.
You finally made it.
I made it, and so how to do it is
not
drawn.
like you now.
It is drawn on the wall, so anybody who doesn't know the sport can also try it out. So
this is the first step. No.
yeah, so you're getting into the trousers, and then after.
What are you doing now?
I don't know the word for this thing, but I have to roll. I have to roll the legs up so that if I had an opponent in the fight, he would grab here to be able to lift me up or to throw me on the ground.
Okay.
So
I have already a question. When
Yes.
I see you now with the trousers, you are a woman.
Yes.
But men, they have something between their, you know?
Yes.
Doesn't it hurt?
Actually, I wonder that too. I never asked a man who does this sport.
We should.
But I think because they are grabbing here on the rim and in the back.
Okay.
And it's like loose, so probably things just find their place.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Next question.
So
yeah, where are we here? We are now at the Schwinger place.
we are at the Schwinger place, so we have sawdust on the ground. Sagmal.
Yeah.
It's a little bit too wet here in this because we didn't want to have so much dust. So we watered it a lot so that we can show it, but we don't want to have the dust all over the place.
Okay.
But when wrestling and the goal is that one of the two or sometimes both they
Must be on the ground.
They have to be on the ground, and they have to be on the ground like with the whole back. So it shouldn't hurt too much, and the sawdust is fluffy.
Fluffy is a good word.
And
So
now
guests are able to do this here?
yes, guests can wear the trousers, and then I think this is always getting in the way, but usually you just see them like this.
The Gurt.
The Gurt.
Yeah, okay.
And so what we did is we have a simulation of two wrestlers, and this is filled with sand.
Yeah.
And this one is really heavy. I cannot lift it.
Sandsack
I will try and show you, but I cannot lift it. So it's about 130, 140 kilogram.
Wow.
And some of the huge wrestlers actually do weigh that much. So
I take maybe the small one.
I can. This is like half of that one.
Yeah.
And it's about my weight. So what I can do, we cannot wrestle, like throw things on the ground. We are not trained.
But just to show how they do.
But when they are throwing, they have to lift.
Wow.
So I cannot lift it with my arm actually.
It's too heavy.
But when I put it on my legs and just stand up, I get a feeling of what they have to do.
Het is niet verband schieben. It's nothing for injured backs.
And so this is just to get an impression of how much power actually they do need, because as you see on these illustrations, they are like really throwing and rolling over, and a lot happens here along the hip.
On the hips.
So you don't need to have all the power in your arms.
Okay.
It's like physics.
Okay.
But still, it's a lot. I'm already
Breathing like
realizing
a horse.
with my breath, but I'm trying again.
Wow.
This is actually, it's fun.
But you're not doing this sport.
I'm not.
Okay.
No.
Would you like to do it?
I think if I wasn't over 40 years now, I would really like to
It
try
doesn't look like this.
But usually people stop like around 40.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know if it's good for the bones to still.
I don't think so.
Still do it.
Yeah.
But I do want to find someone who just shows me one or two of these Schwingen, these ways to throw it, like around 120 ways of throwing the opponent to the ground. It's a lot of choreography.
That must have been a big one.
This is the biggest one, actually. We are trying to have a world record with this trouser.
Oh, really?
It's 3 times the size of the brown one that's on the big sand sack. So it's usually around almost a meter wide on the hips. So this is 2.70 meters wide and 1.80 meters high. So if I would stand inside it, I couldn't look over the rim.
Crazy. We are now one level up, and this is the biggest Schwinger trouser. And we have the smallest one.
Yes,
Show me.
The smallest one was a present. It's on my workplace key, and
so
it's
cute.
it's so tiny.
Can guests buy something like this here?
Yes, I don't think it's in our shops. We don't have them yet.
Okay.
But you can buy it. So someone bought
I think
it
they
for
would love
me.
it.
Yeah, I will try to get them in our shops.
Yeah, super.
Yeah.
Where are we now?
We are on the level where downstairs everybody can just try it out, and I don't know. Sometimes maybe people have more interest in visiting our animals or go barbecuing in the huge museum
picnic.
space. So whoever is now neugierig, curious, thank you, enough to really want to know what kind of sport is this, has the chance to find it up here.
We have some sound.
Yes, we have sound. We can go to the to listen to the.
Yeah.
We can start here.
The yodel.
Yeah, it's a yodel. And in this area of the exhibition, we have like two persona of Swiss wrestlers simulation, and so around these two there's a whole festival happening, and the music also always is very huge part of the festivals.
How many festivals are there in Switzerland during the year?
I don't have a number actually. I know with the women it's not so many, so I know they have around 10 or 12 festivals during a season in the year. But with the men, it's very. They have very small festivals with their the small clubs, and then it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and so there are a lot of every weekend several festivals.
Yeah,
in
this is a
Switzerland.
real. I mean, Schwingen is a real Swiss sport, right?
Yes.
Do you know when they started? With the first Schwingerhose trouser?
We can when we go to the historic part of the exhibition. I can show you. We don't know it exactly actually, because historians only know what is written or drawn in, and then it's still
on the paper.
It has to be still here. So what we tried here is the question is exactly your question. When did Swiss wrestlers actually start? We ask when did they start wearing trousers, because it's all about the trousers in this exhibition. So we are going back in time for this question of yours. So we can exactly say when they did wrestle like a real sport with a club and Regeln.
Rules.
Rules. Where
There
is my
are
English?
rules. I got it.
It's very good that we can do it.
You are in the shadow. You
I'm
have
in the
to
shadow.
move it.
So we know exactly when they started to do this sport with rules, and they were installing clubs, and so things got like an institution. And this was around the 1850s. So
Wow. That's a long time ago.
the first book where the rule is written down for people who want to learn it is from 1864. And in 1853 they started to integrate the Swiss wrestling into sports clubs. So this picture of the trouser they wore in the 1860s is I really like this trouser a
Again,
lot.
my question.
and they didn't have a gurt then, but it was with three knöpfli buttons. And probably it wasn't a special trouser. It was just trousers that men wore in their everyday life. This is a photo we got from the Landesmuseum in Zurich of a trouser they actually have in their collection, and so probably they just rolled the legs up and then.
But the material must be very, wie sagt man dem?
Sturdy.
Strong?
Yes, strong and sturdy. It is like it is. So we have examples here. So here we are letting people try to rip the material, but nobody will manage to rip it because it's so very sturdy.
May I?
Yes. Of course. So yes, I'm moving the table.
I see.
And it's made from linen.
Linen, yeah.
And it's a special way of weaving the linen, so the fabric gets so sturdy. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We have an example here.
Yeah.
So it's not. How can I show you? So here in the bottom line, I can show it. So it's always one on top and then two below, and one on top and again two below. And so it's called Zwilch, like from zwei. Two is
and
zwei.
that makes it that strong.
And that has the effect that usually when you're weaving, you can still like shake the fabric like a little bit. You know, it's moving a little bit. And this here
It's
now
not moving.
it's not moving anymore. So it's and you can also do it with 3 instead of 2, and then it gets even more sturdy. But it's too thick to roll it up and grip it. So this Zwilch, just stayed with the sport as the best.
Who is
fabric.
producing this?
It's not an
Professional.
they are professionals, but it's not the was heißt denn Schneider? Not the
cutter.
Not the person who is sewing and making clothes, but actually the craftsmen who work with leather.
Okay.
It's the saddler who is making the wrestling trousers. And so here we have on loan from one of the 3 saddlers who still do it in Switzerland. They made like the steps how these trousers
I see.
will be produced.
Kind of, yeah.
These are just the 2 legs, and then here it's up inside out, and it's very important because this is the most important
That must
sewing.
hold.
This must hold because they will carry 130,
And then some leather.
and then on the outside you will have leather and just to make it more stable.
Wow, that's really.
And when the exhibition is over, he will get them back and he will actually sew more trousers out of them, and they were going to be used. And this is the tools to do it. Yeah.
Okay.
And these are the tools to produce the linen. Like our question is how is like this tiny small blue flower, the linen, becoming the most sturdy
And how?
Swiss trousers. So it's inside the
Plant.
inside the plant you get the these fasern, these pieces of textile fabric. you have to break the plant and then they come out. And someone, some children probably always do the. It's not actually what
It's not meant to
it's not
do
meant,
like this.
It's not meant to do this.
Children.
But it's I actually like how people are playing with the things.
I mean, it's cool that it is not only an exhibition for just the eyes, so you can do something by yourself. That's cool.
I think I can leave it probably like this. And so here in this showcase, you see how it's becoming
The
smoother. Yes, the
so thin.
it's very thin, and then of course you have to spin it again, so you get a thread, and then it's very stable. I cannot break this already, and then in the end you will have threads that you use for I cannot pronounce this in Swiss. I love it. And then you have you're weaving, and then it's really stable.
Super.
Yeah. And of course, a lot of things that need to be very stable are made out of this fabric. So it also.
Does it happen that the trousers break? Oh, really? Das ist peinlich dann, oder?
I've never seen it on a festival like when it broke, but we have an example. It's hanging here from the ceiling back there. I don't know if the light is enough to see it.
I hope so.
So we got
I see.
We got examples from
Unspunnen.
Yes, it's from Unspunnen, from Interlaken. And so the Interlaken Sports Club gave us trousers that they had to throw out because they are broken. And what I found so cool is they are all broken at the same spot, and it's all in the right hind leg.
Here.
So they are all broken here because, of course, the opponent is grabbing here, and it's always the
pressure is
the pressure
too strong
is
there.
only on this leg.
Crazy. What's behind there?
I will show you. No,
I'm like a child. Oh,
yeah, it's
what's
great.
there?
I was just thinking if I answered your question since when the sport began, but maybe
1800 und irgendetwas.
yeah, that was
Again.
the club
the
club sports, and
No,
then
you know,
maybe I
I mean,
didn't.
when I imagine always like how was it? Was it
Yes.
a little boy with his neighbor friend doing something in the backyards of the? I don't know.
I think probably it's like this that all around the world you have wrestling sports because probably boys and young men they want to know who's
sure.
stronger. So definitely it began like this, and there's we don't know if it's a cliche, but it's a little bit the telling is that the men who worked in the Alps with the cattle in the summer during summer, like on the pasture, they in the evenings they just did this fight.
Had free time.
They had free time. They did these fights. They weren't tired enough from the hard working day, so they still did these fights. and it was just. Some guys wrestling,
hobby.
yeah, it's yes, and then it began
like
to
here, huh?
yes, these pictures. We don't have so old drawings, but the oldest one we found is from 1785, and it's already a competition, and it's an official competition in the town of Bösen, where they invited all the men from the valleys to do this competition. And then you see they do wear trousers because it's a competition and it has to be fair. And so
Rules.
the two men have to wear the same kind of trousers, so it's a fair competition. But then we found also things where you see that you can still wrestle without a special trouser. And my favorite one, we had to reconstruct it. So it's drawn here on this drawing.
That must hurt. Come on.
It's just your, to clean your nose, just a piece of cloth, and it's enough to knot this around your leg because then somebody can grip here. So. It's called Schwinglumpen.
Schwinglumpen.
And it
you can clean something.
It's enough. It's enough. And in some in some written sources, they also said, "I don't have a knife, but I will use my key." So when you put a knife in your side pocket, and then it's a little bit. Bound, yeah. So you have a little ball here, and so still the other can grab here, and so they just improvised before there were these rules with the clubs and the competitions.
And what's this?
And this is one very very old image. It's in the Cathedral of Lausanne. It's carved out of wood, and the people who want to say the Swiss wrestling tradition is extremely old, they always use this picture to give the example of how old, because it's from the 13th century. But actually they, like people who know the sport very well, they say it's not Schwingen. It's wrestling. It's a kind of wrestling, but they don't grip on the trousers.
Like the sumo ringers, no? It's similar a little bit.
It's a little bit similar. I will get to that. We have a piece of comparison of different wrestling sports. Cool. Yes, also. Yeah. So it's of course there are a lot of ways to wrestle, and this with the trousers and these rules, it's probably 300 or 400 years old, but not 1,000 years old. It's still really old.
Cool. So Miriam, what is this? It's like a stube.
Yes, it's a living room, and we can sit and play that we are visiting a very famous Swiss wrestler.
The most famous ever?
I think there are now younger wrestlers who are also very, very famous, but in the 20th century he counts as the best. So his name is Karl Meli.
Karl Meli.
And you see pictures of him here on the wall, and the family of Karl Meli, they had a restaurant, and he brought home a lot of prizes, of course, because he was so successful. and he loved
all
to
these
bring
bells?
yeah, he loved to bring home the bells as a prize, so they can choose from many prizes in the end of the festival. And he seems to have loved the bells because he just brought home bell and bell and bell. And we have
so
a postcard. I think it's too dark for you to film, but we have in our collection more than 90 bells that he brought. So this is a autogram card of Karl Meli, and he's with all the bells.
Okay.
And so what we wanted to show here is how does it feel in a household where a successful wrestler is just decorating the house with all these prizes. So the living room table has an inscription of this and the inscription of this competition where he got it from, and the Truhe also. This is from from a federal Swiss wrestling festival. So everything is carved very beautifully. Yeah, the Milchkanne, and it's his name Meli on the.
Wow, cool.
And because he was so famous, of course, people bought him presents just to tell him, I'm a fan.
How much they love him.
People painted pictures, and we just imagined he hung all this stuff on the wall, and then we created this living room. We have a reproduction.
He was a wrestler influencer.
Yes, probably. So we have we have a reproduced a picture book where you can just be visiting and look,
dive into the past.
Dive into the past, and so there are like funny. Yeah. Today it's funny looking, and also like private pictures of him, because still many fans of the wrestling sport, they know the name Karl Meli very well, and they love to be visiting him.
Thank you. We are now in the cinema.
We're in the cinema, yes. So we only have pictures and objects, so we wanted to show how this sport, of course, is moving and very athletic. So we have a cinema with Swiss wrestling pictures, and then here on this side we compare different international sports that are very similar to the Swiss wrestling. And the question is it really so special? Is only the trousers the thing that makes it so special? And of course, the rules are not the same in every country, but there are wrestling traditions who are very, very similar. And everybody knows the sumo. And
are these ones? No.
No. It's changing, so sumo will be there. Now we have Gouron, it's in Bretagne in France, Lucha Canaria on the Canary Islands, and Bösen is in Mongolia.
What a name!
And we chose wrestling sports. Now you have the sumo.
Look, it's
where gripping the clothes is allowed, because in the Olympic wrestling today you can do anything but grip clothes. So we only compare the ones where you can.
It would be interesting to do a mix between the sumo and the Swiss Schwinger.
There once was in the Swiss television there was a broadcast with Christian Stucki, who just now ended his wrestling career, and he went to different countries in the world to try it out how it was. And he was in Senegal, he was in Austria, he was also in Japan, and they tried if it works to do it with the different sport. And this is the main prize, the Mooney, it's
bull.
The bull is the main prize for the winner of a competition usually.
And vorne Schwinger. There are many traditional things on Schwinger in Switzerland.
So we have the Jodel, we have the Alphorn music, the Fahnenschwingen. And what I find very interesting with all these international sports, usually they also are now on the list of the UNESCO traditions that need to be saved.
Yeah.
So on all these different countries, it's like the Schwingen, it's also on this list,
Cool.
that it's a tradition that needs to be saved. And their competitions also have many other traditions around with music and with other plays. So the way of keeping a tradition alive is very similar around the world. Just the sport is a little bit different. And here we see some women wrestling.
Ah, yeah.
And this is actually really still kind of new. The first women's competition was in 1980. And it took some time to get acceptance.
Yeah.
And now the Swiss sportsmen they accept it. They also train the women, and I think they have a friendship, but it's not. They are not in the same clubs. They have their own club structure. The women. But the first women's wrestling competition was. In the beginning, everybody said, who wants to see this? And nobody wanted to come.
But it was like women football, no?
Yes.
It was similar.
And then, like a week or two before the competition actually started, people began to be so curious. And then they had 15,000 viewers,
cool.
Which is really, really a lot for this small village where it took place. They had nothing to drink or eat in the village in the end of this festival. It was too many people curious.
Where are we now?
We are back again in this area where it's all around the festival. So the different stations tell what you all need to have a festival. And of course, today you need the clubs, the structure. And on this wall, we have just a comparison between the men clubs and the women's clubs.
A much more number.
Yeah, they have
here.
around
Okay.
15,000 members, and with the women, it's around 200 active sportswomen who do this. And we have photos, old photos from training situation, and of course sometimes people hurt themselves. I really love this situation with the two, and in the end they're just the same. Sometimes the body is aching, and sometimes people just do really great sport. And so this is the exhibition. It's very. We try to have very different things to look at and to try out, and for people who love the sport already and know it, and people for them it's new and they just have to get to know it. So it's a mixture of a little bit of all of them.
It was a big pleasure for me, and you made it so interesting. So I think everyone understood what happens here in this room. And the exhibition is not only this year, it's also next year, right?
Yes, next season from October till November the museum is open, and then the exhibition is open again.
Super. Thanks a lot, Miriam.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.